Hello everyone, welcome to It's Crochet O'Clock. My name is Stephanie and today we are working on the final portion of the Arizona Crochet Along by Pippin Poppycock. If you are curious about Pippin Poppycock, her website is below as well as her Facebook group. That's where you can find the written pattern. All the information about the Crochet Along will be forever free at Pippin Poppycock's website and also on her Ravelry, which you can find through her website down below in the description box. Today is the end of our journey, but before we get into the actual crochet, I would like to address a few things. We're working on the border, and there are a lot of new people, not just to crochet alongs, but to crochet who have jumped in on this crochet along, and I just want to say I'm so proud of everything that you guys have accomplished. I know that you guys have worked super hard. I've seen all of your pictures. They're beautiful. I'm so proud of you having the courage to jump in, and I've loved watching all of you guys learn your new stitches and how to work and working through your issues with everybody else in the group. It's just been a great time. But there is a lot of anxiety over the border. So I want to talk about that. Pippin was very gracious to us, and she gave us a simple border to work on this lovely blanket that we've all been working on for the past 7 weeks. But there is a lot of anxiety over edges, and that's normal. You know, the first round of the border is going to be the most difficult, and the thing that you have to remember is standard practice whenever you're laying down the base for your border is that if it's a single crochet, then it gets 1 stitch. If it's a half double, then it gets 1 stitch. If it's a double, then you put in 2 single crochets. If it's a treble, then it's 3, and on and on and on. So as we're working here, and as you're working your stitches along the border, of course up here at the top, it's the standard 271 that everybody is used to, but down here it might get a little bit crazy. And I want you to be aware that you can fudge just a little bit, just a little bit. It calls for 257 single crochets along the unworked edge of our work, and a good center point to note is the center of the project. This is our center square. We will place a stitch here, but on either side of this you should have 128 single crochets. Now if something happens and you don't fret about it. Just work through. Everybody's tension is different, so a double crochet to me would take 2 stitches, but if you happen to be a loose crocheter and you place 2 single crochets over a double crochet and you still have a lot of space and you're just not comfortable with it, place another one. It'll be okay. I promise this border is extremely forgiving. There's not very much pattern in it, and that's because there's so much texture with the rest of the blanket. She gave us a simple border, so I don't want you to stress about it. But we're here for the crochet. Now that I've given you my little public service announcement, let's begin. Round 1 of the border is worked in color number 5, and it starts at the top of one of our worked edges. It doesn't matter which side you're going to start in. We're going to start in this first stitch with a standing single crochet. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the top of that stitch, get my tail back around there. Oh, and you should be on the right side. If that wasn't obvious, I'll say that. On the right side. Okay, standing single crochet. And now you are simply going to work single crochet stitches all the way across this side. So there'll be 271 of them, and then we're going to make a corner, and then we're going to work down an unworked edge or an unfinished side, and we're going to tidy that up a little bit, give ourselves a base so we can start working the border. So what I would like for you to do right now, seeing how this is pretty simple and pretty straightforward, and you've done this about 20 times so far in this crochet along, I would like for you to pause this video and work your 271 single crochets all the way down, whichever side it is that you started on, and I will meet you to work the corner and to help you get a start on the unworked edge. Okay, we are back. I have worked my single crochets all the way across the top of the finished edge. Now it's time for the tough part. We are going to chain 2, and this counts as our corner. We're going to be forming a corner here. Now for the border, for this portion right here, which was week 7 that we just completed last week, you have to remember that we have all of these stitches back here behind. While we have treble stitches here on top, there's the single crochet parts right there behind. So we're going to need to make sure that our hook goes through both of them. Now we're still working single crochets all the way down, and remember what I said is it doesn't have to be precise. So I'm just going to put a single crochet there because that was a single crochet, and I am going to work around that next post, and then that was a single crochet, and here is, I'm going to put one right there. This is always the toughest part, trying to decide where to put these stitches. So if I pull this apart, I can see that there's one row right there, there's one row right there, and then there is the last row. So that's where I'm going to place my stitches. Do you see that? There's that one right there. So I'm gonna wrap around there, and then there's another right there. To go in for that one, and then the last one for this treble is right there, and then there is one right there. Now we're back to another treble. So I'm looking through my work, just checking to see where I need to place stitches. Like I said, this is a very, very forgiving border, and what we're doing is we're laying a foundation, and you see how that treble is wanting to bounce up away from that. Don't let it do that to you. Make sure you're going through the stitches that it is resting on top of, because if not, then your border is going to end up pulling away from your work, and you do not want that to happen. So there's that one. I'm going to go in there. 2, and then go in here. Not too shabby. Okay, so there's that one right there, and let's go. Can we jump that far and have it? Nope, we can't. So that's what I'm talking about. See how all of the other ones are uniform and they're close to each other, and that last one is not. So I'm just going to pull back, and I am going to place one right there, just wrapping around that end. There's one more. Well, we'll see. So it really is a guessing game going all the way down here, and sometimes if you weave in your ends, it might be a little bit more trickier. Is that a word, trickier? Might be a little bit more tricky, rather, to get your hook through there because there's a little bit of space, or very little space, rather. But I promise it will all work out. Okay, here was a double. So I'm going to place 2 stitches there, and then that was a single or a half. I'm going to place 1 there. Here's another double. Just going to work through these. I'm just trying to work a couple of these with you guys so you guys can see where I am placing my stitches, so it will hopefully help you decide. Only you guys can see your tension and see how many stitches need to go into each. I'm gonna go in there. That was a single crochet, but that's a tight spot. There we go. 1 there, wrap around there. The end of the arrows. And sometimes when you get several rows of single crochets or several rows of half double crochets very close to each other, it can be hard to see them. Basically, just try and make it as neat as you can going across, because this is going to be, as I said, the foundation for the rest of our work. Just gonna do a couple more with you. I'm gonna put 1 right there. Probably don't need to, but I feel like something is telling me that I should. Okay. Going around there. I'm gonna put 1 more right there. Whew. We're almost to the front post treble section. Oh, we are. So this one, let's see. Let's pull this up and let's look at the anatomy of this one. If you remember in this one was where we did a double crochet and then we did a front post treble down below. So on this one, you can actually see all the places that you will be placing stitches. See, in every single little hole there, we're going to place stitches there. And eventually, you will end up with single crochet going down the whole side. And it will relax out some. We will pull it out as we're working. Oop, my hook dropped out. Let's not lose our place. So just remember, while you're working this, if it was a double crochet, it gets to, well, okay, so we'll start at the beginning. Single crochet and half double crochet get 1 stitch. Double crochets get 2 stitches. Trebles get 3 stitches. You will have points. Hold on, let me see if I can do this without, this blanket's getting very big. Well, it has gotten very big. It's almost at its full size. You will have points like the folding single crochets. You don't want to work over the top like we're wrapping around these stitches going all the way around the bottom. You just want to put 1 right there at that single crochet and then put another one right here, so that way we don't lose that stitch definition that we worked so very, very hard on. There's another really long stitch right there, and there's the bobbles. Remember that we had single crochets. You probably don't by now because it's been so long since we've been here, but there were single crochets at the beginning of this, and if you pull your work apart, just gently pull your work apart, you can see them right there. This is your middle point. From here on, when Pippin worked it, she had 128 single crochets. So if you'd like to stop there and count your single crochets to see if you're close, you can absolutely do that. That would be fine. You will work 1 single crochet into this corner space right here, and then you will continue on just as we have done. When you get to the corner, you will work the corner the same way that we did here. Make sure that you do a chain 2, and then see, you can't really see, but there's a chain 2 there in the corner. I crochet very, very tightly, so there we go. Chain 2 there in the corner. That is our corner. I apologize for that vehicle. So you will continue this all the way around. You will work the unworked edge all the way down, chain 2, then you'll work the finished edge, single crochets, chain 2, 1 more round of the unfinished edge, and then you will be right back where we started, and you will slip stitch into the very first single crochet that we worked, and we will move on to round 2, which will be much, much, much easier to work than these sides. But don't get frustrated, don't overanalyze it. Remember, it's a super, super simple border, and it is extremely forgiving. You will be okay, I promise you. Pause the video, work all the way around the blanket. I will see you for round 2. Okay, for the round 2, we are going to stay in the same color. This is how round 1 finishes off. We chain 2, and then we slip stitch into that very first standing single crochet. To begin round 2, we are going to chain 2, and this counts as our first half double crochet, which means it's going to take this place of the stitch right there. So we're going to half double crochet all the way across the top here. So we'll yarn over and then insert our hook, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops, and that's a half double crochet. Now we are going to work half doubles in each space all the way across, as I said. So for your next corner, we're going to work corners just a little bit different on this round. So go ahead and pause, work these half double crochet stitches all the way across. I will meet you back when you get to the corner. Okay, I have gotten to my corner, worked half doubles all the way across here. Now we have to work into that itty bitty little space right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 half doubles, then chain 2, and then 2 more half doubles. So we have to fit 4 stitches into that corner space. It'll be tight, but you can do it, I promise. So there's my first half double. Here is my second half double, and then chain 2. I'm going to turn my work slightly, just a little bit. Yarn over, insert right back into that same stitch. And there we go. There's my third half double. And ooh. So there is the new corner made for the next round. Now you're just going to continue on with half double crochets all the way down until you get to your next corner space, which is the chain 2, and you're going to repeat the same process. Rinse, lather, and repeat all the way back around. And when you get back around, you are going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 that counted, or chain 2 rather, that counted as our first half double crochet. And then you're going to fasten off because we will have a color change. So go ahead, pause the video. I will meet you back for round 3 once you've finished with that. Round 3 is worked in color number 7, and we have tied off from the last round that we worked. So for this round, we are going to start in a corner space. So what we'll do is we will create our new corner first, and then we will move on with the rest of the project. But the corners are going to be the same on all 4 of these. So we'll start with a standing single crochet because it calls for 2 single crochets. So there's our first single crochet, and now we are going to make 1 more single crochet, and then for this one we are going to chain 3 instead of 2. The previous 2 rounds we chained 2. This time we are going to chain 3, and now we are going to put 2 more single crochets in this same space, making that new corner. So there's 1 and then 2. So there is our new corner. See? Nice little corner space. Doesn't look like much right now, but it will, I promise. Now we're going to add a little bit of texture into our project. We are going to work the camel stitch down all 4 sides. And the way that you work a camel stitch is we are going to half double crochet in the 3rd loop from the previous row. For those of you that don't know where a 3rd loop is, let me show you. There are, if I can find my darning needle, there is a front loop on the front and the back. The camel stitch is reversed, but Pippin wants you to work in the back one to send this pattern that is created at the top here forward. So if you look at the anatomy of the stitch, here is the 3rd loop in the front. Right there, it's a bit trickier to get into, and I don't want to split my yarn, but you can see it. There it is right there. Now on the back of our work, this right here, well, let me move in a couple. This right here is the top of our stitches. This is the V that everybody knows about. You know, we worked a lot in the back loops and the front loops. That's the top of the V. This is the 3rd stitch back here. In the back, it's a lot easier to get your hook into, but that's where we are going to be placing our hook. We're going to be working half double crochets in every single 3rd loop, going all the way across on every single stitch. So let me get in here and get my yarn. Now we're going to skip the dreaded hidden stitches. That stitch right there, we're going to skip that. We are not going to pay attention to that at all. So yarn over, because we're working half double crochets. If you need to flip your work over, I'm going to flip my work over so you can see this stitch right there. See that? That's where you're going to insert your hook. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now I'm just going to work a couple of these so you can see in the 3rd loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, flip it over. Sorry that I'm turning my work around so much, but I want you to be comfortable with where you're going to be placing your hook. Just going to work a couple more so you can see the pattern that it gives. It kind of does the same thing as, you remember when we worked the rows of back post stitches to bring the braid down forward? It's kind of the same thing. Is that the V or the back stitch? See, even I get confused. There we go. Just work just a couple more. Let me keep turning it. I keep defaulting back to yarn over. So that's the effect that it gives. And it will do this all the way around. When you get to the corner, you will work it exactly like we worked it here. You will place 2 single crochets, then you will chain 3, 2 single crochets. Make sure that you skip your hidden stitch. You don't need to bother with the hidden stitch with this. You're going right back into the back third loops to work your camel stitch all the way around. And I'm not going to have you pause and come back for the corner because we've already made a corner. So work all the way around. You'll work 3 more corners in your camel stitches, and when you get back here, you will slip stitch into the top of your first standing single crochet right there. We're not going to cut our yarn. We're going to continue on with this color. We are ready to begin round 4. Remember, we're staying in this same color. I have worked my third loop half double crochets all the way around, and I attached here at this first single crochet that we made when we began round 3. So now what we do is we need to slip stitch over here into the corner place because that's where we want to begin working. So the way that I do it is slip between those 2 single crochets and then slip stitch there, and then insert your hook into the corner space and pull through. I can't really tell that we did that, and we still have our 2 stitches here to work in for this row. So now we are going to, in each corner for this round, we will place 5 double crochets, but this first one we are going to chain 3, and this is going to count as the first double crochet for this corner, and then we will place 4 more double crochets in this corner. So let's work those. There's 1 and 2, 3, and 4. So there's 5 double crochets, counting this chain 3. That's our new corner. Now we are going to work in the back loops of each stitch all the way around. We're going to skip this hidden stitch. We're not going to mess around with that. We are going to yarn over, and remember, we're working in the back loops only. So here we have the V's. We're going to be splitting these V's and working through the back. So we're skipping that stitch, that's the hidden stitch, and inserting our hook, working a double crochet. And we are going to work double crochets all the way around. We are going to work again in the corners 5 double crochets in each corner space. So when you get back around, you are going to attach to the chain 3 space, and then we are not going to change yarn colors. Again, one more round, the final round for the border and for Arizona in its entirety. So go ahead, work all of these stitches all the way around. This is the effect that it's going to give you. Do not forget, in the corner spaces, our new corner is going to be 5 double crochets worked around. When you get back here, you're going to attach to the top of this chain 3 to finish off this row. I'll see you soon. Round 5 is the very last portion for the Arizona Crochet Along. It is very simple. We're just going to work single crochets all the way around everything that we have done. We're staying in that color number 7. To begin, you want to chain up, and that does not count as a stitch. And you are simply going to work single crochets in every single stitch all the way around. You're not going to make special corners or anything like that. You're just going to single crochet around the corners that you have already created with the previous rounds. So I will just do a couple more here for you so you can see what the finished border will look like. And while I'm doing that, I would like to thank Emma over at Pippin Poppycock for allowing me to create these tutorials for you. I certainly hope that you guys have enjoyed them. I know I have enjoyed watching all of your Arizonas grow over the past few weeks. I've really enjoyed seeing all of the different color combinations you guys have created, and I hope that I get to see you in future crochet alongs. So just working a couple more single crochets down here. Don't forget to check the description box below. There's lots of useful links. You can go to Pippin Poppycock's website and you can sign up for the mail list so you'll never miss a blog post or an announcement from Pippin Poppycock. You can join Pippin Poppycock's Facebook group and see everybody's Arizonas that they've been working on if you haven't already. It's week 8. You probably should have done that by now. You can also join my Facebook group at It's Crochet O'Clock. You can also get to my website, itscrochetoclock.com. All of that good stuff will be down below. So let's pull this up so you can see. That is what the final border will look like. Don't forget that you're just going to dance around this corner. We're not going to create a new corner or anything like that, just single crochet around them all. When you get back up here to where you started, just slip stitch into that first single crochet, tie off, weave in your ends, and you are done. Once again, thank you for watching. It's Crochet O'Clock. I'll see you next time.